I'm Janeane. This is KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and this is Get the Funk Out. Standing by to join me is Zach Faerber, and I've known him for a long time now, and he's got an incredible story to share about loss and resilience and great advice on self-care, especially right now. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Janeane, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. I cannot keep track of you. You're like, I'm here. I'm up north. I'm down south.
Yeah, it's I know we had to juggle a little bit to get the time to work out, right? So I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, nonstop every day, try to keep moving forward. I think that's the best way to stay sane, I guess.
Isn't it?
Crazy.
Yeah. Have you always been into fitness? Because you started your own business at one point, or side business?
Yeah, so I mean, that really helped throughout kind of my life to keep structure. At one point, I did a bodybuilding show, which, you know, it was 6 to 8 months of just eating 6 times a day, training for 2 hours a day on top of work, on top of school.
Whoa.
And then I had about 20 or so clients in Orange County when I was living out there. And it's a tough thing to do. So I kind of took a break. But now with quarantine, it's been really nice to kind of help people, you know, stay somewhat active. So I have a whole customized app and food plans that I send to people. And I have a good amount of clients right now that I kind of talk to on a weekly basis and try to get them, you know, it's so hard to find a routine through all this madness that, you know, if I can help at all, and it seems to be helping. So as long as I'm helping people, I'll keep doing it. But fitness has kind of been a pillar and still is a pillar in my life.
That's good.
Yeah.
Have you always been into sports when you were little?
Yeah. So I grew up actually playing ice hockey in Southern California, which is not something you hear a lot.
Right.
But ice hockey, I played a little bit of football and soccer in high school as well. And I continue to play ice hockey if the rinks ever open up again.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, I'm waiting on that one. And then bodybuilding and lifting weights just kind of got me from a self-conscious, chubby little Jewish kid in middle school to
you.
Yeah, I had the full Jufro in effect too. And
really, I got to see pictures. You were chubby?
I was short, so I held it mostly in my stomach. But
okay,
yeah, I was a little, you know, middle school, you're a little awkward.
Oh yeah, middle school is weird. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think everybody says, you know, I picked up weights to try to impress girls, and then they say the first day you pick up a weight is the last day you're happy with your body. So, you know, it's kind of a beautiful transformation into learning how to love the journey rather than just look for a destination.
I like that. I feel like maybe that's helped you stay resilient throughout your lifetime, is being an athlete and loving to work out. Am I right?
Totally. I mean, it kept structure in times where I really didn't have any structure. So my work ethic and dedication, I think, all kind of is entangled with you know, my rigorous schedule of working out and trying to stretch, and you know, it all comes together in kind of one crazy little symphony to help me stay on track with the rest of my life. So
people who do yoga say that what they experience in yoga overflows into their life, and I get it. Holding that pose, breathing, focusing on the discomfort. I mean, these things, whether you're an athlete, whatever you do, really helps you throughout life. And which leads me to the story of your parents, because I know I knew your dad was sick, and then I had gone to the memorial service for him. This was years ago. And I had met your mom years ago, and I think she was from Newton.
Yep.
Yeah, because my grandmother was from Newton. And so we would talk about Newton, and then I found out your mom was sick, and I thought, wow, I mean, what you kids had to go through was unbelievable. I mean, were you surrounded when you lost your dad? Your mom wasn't sick, right?
No. She was. So my dad struggled from 2007. He was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And he was sick for 6 years. So it became kind of part of lifestyle. And I was, you know, I was like 13, 14 when he first got sick. So it kind of, you know, I don't have a lot of memories before illness kind of was a part of our life. So kind of growing up with a dad who's in and out of treatment at the hospital, 6 months out of the year, kind of just became the norm. And my dad was a very particular, my mom was from Newton and my dad was from the Bronx in New
Oh,
York.
okay.
So, Super Bowl where the Giants played the Patriots, a real tough
Yeah.
one for our household. But he was very no nonsense, tough New Yorker. I'm going to kick the butt of anything that comes near me. He was
And he
working.
never used the word "but," by the way.
No, I didn't. I don't know what the age group is here in the podcast.
No, I know. It's good. Keep it G. But my dad was from New York and he never used the word "but" either. So
no, I don't think the kind words were in his vocabulary.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he kind of taught me, what it means to not stop. I mean, until the day he died, he was working, saying, I'm going to be back from the hospital next week. I'll be good. I'll be fine.
What did he do for work?
He actually really cool was had his own company. He did product placement and special editions for Ford, Land Rover, Jaguar, Aston Martin. So when you think of like James Bond, he did the cars for James Bond. So we would have those cars in our driveway while he's building the rockets on them.
Oh, come on.
All the Fast and Furious cars. That's super cool. He had his own shipping company, so he would set them up for the commercial and then transport them. And he was a logistical and business genius. He didn't graduate college. He only had his associate's degree, moved out here, and somehow made his way into a big organization and decided that he could do it better. So
amazing.
Yeah, he did pretty well. I mean, he was able to afford a nice house in Orange County, 3 kids, supported his wife who was a stay-at-home mom.
Right.
But it kind of goes back to having that structure and having that self-care. And he would work 20 hours a day. I mean, he was a workaholic. Yeah, he was a workaholic. He didn't have a lot of time for family. And I think that was his way of showing us that he loved us, was I'm working so hard so that you can have what I couldn't.
I see.
And that's what got him sick, was all the stress and the anger and the money, dealing with money and people. Right. And he had a lot of difficulty letting go, which is something I think we all learn to. I'm definitely kind of on that same tree and the branch of that tree of like learning to delegate and, like you were saying with yoga, deep breathe, let it go, and do what you can do.
Yeah. I know I've reached a point, especially now with what's going on, where I'll say, I just can't do that. I need you to do that. I'm overwhelmed, like articulating what I need, what I can't do, instead of wanting to be Superwoman and do it all.
Yeah. Well, I think that takes a lot more practice and strength than people give it credit for, because gosh, when I try to do it anytime, it's almost impossible. So that's something I think, a lot of people overlook.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So then how soon after did your mom get sick?
So my dad passed away in 2011. My mom got sick in 2012. So my
mom, like a year later.
Not even a year.
Not even a year later.
Not even a year. So May, and she was diagnosed in like December, January. So yeah. And that hit us really hard, because within 5 days of my dad passing away, it was in 2011 during the stock market crash, and we were kicked out of our house that we had. Yeah. So, we couldn't afford to pay money, it's not cheap to get sick. I'll just put it that way. Right. It's expensive to be sick. So a lot of money was going towards that, going towards keeping my brother, my sister, and myself in private schools. And thankfully I had gotten a scholarship to where I went, and it was a blessing and a curse to kind of be in that situation, feeling like we're taking so much. But yeah, we were evicted from our home and had to move and sit Shiva in a different house. And
that fast.
So, but I mean, in that, you talk about the Jewish community and the community as a whole, it was beautiful. We got someone to come, somebody had a moving company who came and helped us with moving. And it wasn't, it was stressful, but it wasn't overwhelming. It was, handleable. which I
Great.
don't know what that means in that time scenario, but to me, looking back now, it wasn't like something that broke the straw on the camel's back. It was
Right.
to have that
Well, you
kind of,
had a network of people that
yeah,
really jumped in to help. And your
totally.
mom's sister or best friend? I remember meeting somebody.
Yeah, so my aunt, my mom's sister, who lives up in the Bay Area in San
Mhm.
Francisco, she has kind of been my rock throughout this, my and my siblings' rock. And
Great.
I actually went out there, and right after my mom died, she said, if you want to be here, come live here. And I was going to school in Orange County, and she actually drove to the community college and found out what classes transfer, what I needed to do, and if it was too late. It was just all during winter break, so that 2 weeks.
Ah,
And within a week, I said, you know what, screw it, I'm moving to the Bay Area.
good.
And yeah, ended up one of my, gosh, 6 junior colleges that I went to. So I'm waiting for Guinness to call me on that world record.
If you don't call them, I will, because
Yeah.
that's pretty unbelievable. So you
Yeah.
went to these junior colleges. You went to
Mhm.
Sonoma,
Yeah. So
and
I started out at uh, kind of at UC Irvine. It was a big
yeah,
support system. Was the guys I met through UC Irvine,
okay.
and then I ended up dropping out when she got sick and going to junior college, and then up north for junior college. So
And you got a
yeah.
bachelor's degree, because I looked at you on LinkedIn, in medical anthropology. What is that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I thought I was going to do medical school, and
Okay.
so the idea is everybody does like bio or chem, and it doesn't stand out anymore. So
Oh,
I love social science. I love understanding people. I love psychology. Anthropology is the study of like how we've come to be,
mm-hmm.
um, in a kind of broad sense. And so I took mostly anthro classes, and then biologic or medical anthropology was um, it's a huge interest of mine. So I took pre-med classes. I took medical anthropology classes. I took some forensic anthropology classes, which is super interesting.
Amazing.
Uh, yeah, and it was a lot of fun to get to learn something that interests me.
Yeah.
Going back, I wish I was a little bit more dedicated in school, but it's a tough time to be, you know,
It's good you even went to school. Some
yeah,
people might have just dropped out and said, screw it, I'm mourning the loss of my parents and this is too much,
yeah, yeah. Well,
but
I did. I mean,
submersing yourself is
yeah,
excellent. Yeah.
yeah, totally. I mean, I did two jobs throughout school. I ended up graduating with distinctions and honors. I actually was the pole bearer for the social science school, so I got to stand up with the big pole. And
Nice.
so I mean, I feel like I got a lot done, but it's kind of like the college experience was not quite the same for someone who's helping supporting their younger siblings, still
Right.
dealing with financial issues for my mother,
Yeah.
and so the community's there, but the aftermath, people don't realize kind of
Yeah.
how you need to step up for yourself and make
Right.
those sacrifices.
Yeah. Because as I always say, healing and well, grief is a very personal journey. Like no one can tell you, okay, time to move on. Like you still feel the void of the people that you've lost,
Yeah,
no matter who they are, friends, family. And it's a very personal experience. But what you did, like having that flow state, submersing yourself in something is everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, you talk about grief and you talk about flow, and it really is such a personal thing for each individual. Like for me, my parents' birthdays don't really mean like it doesn't affect me at all. But
Mhm.
Mother's Day and Father's Day are just heart wrenching.
Yes.
And like Hanukkah, Christmas time, not really that bad for me, but
Mhm.
Thanksgiving is really tough.
Yes.
So it's interesting to see how each person individualizes their grief and
Right.
works through it.
So what do you do for Thanksgiving? Do you go to your aunt's house?
Yeah, so lately I've been going to my aunt's house. This year we're getting closer, and she's actually in remission for breast cancer. So
Oh,
yes, not even a year after my mom
oh
passes,
boy.
she it was awful. She's so funny because she sat us down and she just kept saying, "You're gonna kill me. You're gonna kill me."
You're going to kill me
Yeah, she was more upset about how it was gonna make us feel.
because
My
she's
my
so kind.
myself. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
just she's seen what we've been through, and
Yeah.
but she's doing really well now, and
Good.
I'm going to try to find a way to get a rapid COVID test and go out there for Thanksgiving and
Good.
be surrounded by family.
Yeah, that's so important.
It really is. It really is.
So tell me how you got to where you are now, because I was getting messages like, I'm in the OR, and I'm like, go Zach.
Yeah. I'm not sure who let me near the sharp objects, but I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. I started, working with the same hospital that my dad was at, City of Hope.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I got a job with them right out of college doing stem cell transplant coordination for blood cancer patients, mostly pediatric patients. So I would basically go out and try to find more donors on the registry, help coordinate those donors, help find new patients, work with the patients to organize their community, and then be in the hospital with them and kind of going through their treatment with them. And
Amazing.
it was amazing, but it's very eye opening, and you lose a few patients, and it's hard.
Really
So
hard.
yeah, I knew I
Yeah.
wanted to continue to give back. So um, I got another job with another medical organization that does device consulting for orthopedic surgeons. So now, kind of nobody. No, the joke is nobody codes in an orthopedic room because you're working on bones. So
Right.
it's a little bit easier
Good.
that way. But yeah, I kind of walk in and talk to the doctors about a complicated fracture or a complicated soft tissue issue, and see how we can consult them and work with them to get the best products for the patient.
That's
And
so interesting.
yeah, and then in surgery, I'm walking through the surgical tech on what drills to use, how to prep the surgeon, and then sometimes the surgeons will have questions about, we've seen the operations more times than they have because that's what we do on a daily basis. So they'll have questions about, you know, um, degree angulation of the drill, how the best form the soft tissue to the bone, what the best is for casting and splinting. So just kind of helping to better patient outcomes.
So
So
basically, your company provides the devices, and then you walk through the staff about how the proper, let's say, installation of the device kind of
there
thing.
you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of kind of have to know what you're doing and think it on the feet a little bit too when something doesn't work right, because you
Yeah.
never know, everybody's anatomically different, so you could
Right.
walk into a situation where the normal fix doesn't quite work for that person.
Hmm.
So yesterday we had a really complicated one where he was actually very large man, so we couldn't use the normal stuff that we normally do. So trying to kind of walk through the steps with the surgeon and understand the best way to help him was super eye-opening to me. You always learn. Yeah.
Were you ever squeamish at stuff like this, or no?
Not really. I'm always the guy who's looking at somebody giving me, my flu shot or taking my blood.
Oh,
I'm
that's not
a little
me.
crazy.
I'm
No.
like, just do it.
Well, it's so funny. We did a cadaver lab the other day, and I'm picking up severed feet from
This is funny.
well, I'm driving around with them, and I'm thinking, I really hope I don't get pulled over, because I'm gonna have to try to explain why there's 3 severed
Oh
feet in
my,
the back of my car.
how
So
creepy.
it's weird what gets me squeamish, but this has never been one of it. It's funny. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I end up in, Inland Empire area right now, just, after I've moved all over California. And this has been, it's kind of like we talked about. It's part of the journey, not the
Right.
destination. So
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying aspects of what I'm doing right now, and how I can better myself through, it's one of those things where it's like there's no set schedule. I sometimes get
Good.
calls at 10 at night about something that's the next morning, and you have to
Mhm.
get the implants to this facility to be sterilized. So this has kind of been a huge challenge to me in learning how to fit my own fitness schedule, fit my clients, fit my even just time to like relax is so
Yeah, it's important.
um, yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting how quickly self-preservation and self-care can go out the window.
Right.
um, so I have gotten really good at spending 2-3 hours on Sunday making food for the whole week. And
Good.
um, it seems like the crazier I get, the better I feel. So the more
That's
the
how it
more
works though. The busier
yeah,
you are, right?
yeah,
The more things, but also you're in this world doing great things for people. I mean, look what you're doing. you know, whether you're driving around cadavers or, but no, you're in the OR helping,
Yeah.
you're part of the process to help save somebody in some way,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know?
that's when I saw my parents and I saw healthcare. I wasn't quite sure that I wanted to be a doctor, talking with patients all day. I
Right.
just feel like the system is so strained right now. It's in need of
Yeah.
a major rehaul. But I vouched to myself, watching them go through sickness and watching the community come together, and I took care of my mom when she was in hospice. I converted my room for her. I bathed her. It's a whole
Mm.
ordeal, and seeing how that affects someone, and I
Yeah.
I just didn't see a reason not to spend my life trying to somewhat give back in any way I
Right.
could. So,
Yeah.
um, the thought had crossed my head of going and just doing some other form of sales or something that would
Hmm.
kind of make me, build me up. But it's I want to stay centered around building other people, and I think
Well, it's meaningful.
yeah,
You've
exactly.
created a meaningful life, whether you're helping people build a routine of working out in a time of chaos, right? We
Hmm.
feel very isolated, or, doing something in healthcare. It's amazing. And your mom was a fighter. I mean, am I right to say that at the end she was on an experimental drug for lung cancer?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so what ended up happening was she was given 3 years with this experimental drug, and the way
Mhm.
experimental treatments work is because they're always being reevaluated. If you have to go up in dosage, but you don't see quality results, they kick you off the study. So
Oh,
she had about 3 years of positive trending, and it was one time where she just didn't trend upward. And I remember being in the hospital with her, and the doctor was it was a really awful. I mean, there needs to be maybe a bedside manner conversation
you
with
bet.
this gentleman, but it was
Yeah.
like, yeah, you're not doing well this month, so you're done. We're kicking off. My MA will go through everything else with you, and that was it. So yeah, after that it was a pretty quick decline. So I mean, I remember year 1.5, 2, we went to Hawaii as a family, and she was she was doing shots with me, and it was it was trying to hit on girls with me. It was cool. She was always the life of the party, I gotta
Yeah.
say.
I
She
adored
made
her, really.
Yeah, she was. I mean, my sister moved up her bar mitzvah so that she could be there, and it ended up being like, I think it was on my mom's birthday, and it
Nice.
was just the most beautiful culmination of everything together. And they didn't give her they gave her a month after she got off experimental treatment, and it was about another year. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, she made it to December of
Yeah.
2015.
Yeah, because I remember I was telling you before we started, she passed away December 2nd. My dad passed away December 4th. And it just like walloped me. When I heard about your mom, I was all set to come to the funeral. And then I heard about my dad 2 days later. And I remember, I think I sent you a message saying, I can't come. I'm so sorry. Here's why.
Yeah.
And he had stage 4 colon cancer.
Ugh.
Yeah. So it was like this feeling of any day now, like there was nothing they could do for him at that point. But so I want you to share any advice you have for people that are going through something like this right now, where they have a family member that's sick. Maybe they haven't been able to see them. What can they do to take care of themselves?
Yeah, I feel very privileged to have gone through what I did before. The current time and climate that we're in is just, it's debilitating. Cannot imagine being away from someone, a loved one right now who's sick because of those issues. Unfortunately, we lost my grandfather right at the beginning. So my mom's father,
Oh,
right right at the beginning of COVID. Actually, a couple
I'm
months.
so sorry.
That's
Oh,
it's he was a fight. I mean, gosh, heart attack and 2 strokes, and he
oh,
lived through all that. He's crazy. So he he was difficult to, especially being up north. I couldn't visit him. I couldn't see him, but
mhm,
just even videoing him in, or giving a phone call, or going and sitting outside um, was super helpful.
good.
I implore people to push and see those people, but on top of that, make sure that you're checking with yourself, because you know, when my dad first got sick, I was in the mentality of I'm just going to run forward and do and do and not have to feel. And that's a tough way of I'm still dealing with, you know, skeletons because of
Right.
going through the process. But my mom,
Wait, excuse me. It's kind of like, I'm fine. I can handle it.
exactly,
Right.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
like, I don't, you know, nobody, you get that mentality of like, nobody cares. Everybody's doing something. I'm just going to keep trucking along, but people do care.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many people, if you put your hand up and said, I need somebody publicly, how many people would be like, I'm here, you know, I'll call you, you call me, I'll come over. What do you need? And so, especially with my mother, like I got into therapy as soon as she got sick, and I'm a huge believer in, you know, it's like having a car and never getting an oil change. You've got to sit down and think about your thoughts, whether that's with someone or whether that's, you know, I do every week goal setting and thinking about the prior week, how I could have improved, how I could reach out to more people, what I can do to help as much as possible. I think people need to put more of an emphasis on themselves. What do I need right now? Turn off the TV and take a second to really, you know, do I need to talk to someone? Do I need to reach out to that friend? Do I need to, you know, what can I do for myself right now?
Right.
Because if you don't, if you put it on the back burner, you're gonna implode, you know,
You're right.
weeks or months later.
You can't suppress all that stuff.
No. And I think that's kind of the foundation of sickness, is trying to hold down all that stress, that anger. And people underestimate how much emotion can hold on to your physical and mental. But if you're mentally off, you will become physically sick. The brain controls everything. So being mentally sound and doing what you need to do, keeping yourself healthy, keeping yourself happy, is the first thing to go out the window, but it's the most important thing. So, you know, for anybody in that situation, even if it's me, I mean, I don't mind. You can reach out to me and I will give you a call or a text back and be happy to help. I've had friends who've unfortunately been in similar situations, and it's a strange bond we have, but you know, it's nice to know that you're not alone.
Yes. So where can people reach you?
Oh, they can email, I guess, is the best way. My first name is Zachary, my last name Faerber, Faerber @gmail.com.
All right.
I'm on Instagram and Facebook too, so feel free to try to reach out to me there too. I'm more than happy to, you know, have conversations or whatever I can do to help. But yeah, I mean, the main thing, especially in this time, is to like take a second to realize we've never been in this situation.
Ever.
And give yourself a break and do something for yourself.
Be kind to you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I agree. Well, I have loved this, and I want to thank you so much for taking your time to talk to me.
Yeah, of course. I really appreciate everything you do. You know, you reached out to me and I checked out the podcast, and I'm so impressed by the you know, the nature of everybody who's been on here, and everybody's opened up, and I think it's beautiful what you're doing to kind of put this out there in the world for others. So thank you. Yeah.